It's another great day to go exploring. This is John and Glenda here. Thanks for joining us. Today we have Brad and Jody joining us in the Bronco and Lyndon and Leanne leading us in their Jeep. And this is where we're going to be driving today, the Shafer Switchback Trail. We're starting our descent near the Island in the Sky Visitor Center of Canyonlands National Park. Shafer Trail is definitely a shelf road, which may be concerning for those people who are afraid of heights, and that would include me. In the distance, you can see the beautiful LaSalle Mountains, still a little bit of snow. We'll be dropping down about 1,000 to 1,500 feet from the top of the mesa all the way down to the Colorado River. And that's your first peek at the switchbacks below.
Oh man, can you imagine pedaling a bicycle up this? Maybe when I was a lot younger, but that's been a long, long time ago.
Uphill traffic has the right-of-way, but I believe they just pulled over to enjoy the magnificent views. Originally, this trail was used by the Native Americans and then by shepherds moving their flocks back and forth for the winter. Then maybe some cattlemen used it. But the most amazing is in the 1940s and 50s, the Atomic Energy Commission improved this trail and started using it to bring truckloads of uranium to Moab for processing. I can't even imagine heavy dump trucks loaded with ore making this drive. Here's a shaky look out the window with my iPhone.
I'm still a little surprised that we're making this drive. When I first saw this trail many years ago, I was amazed that people were driving up and down. But I wanted to do it, and now this is my second trip, once up and now down.
And there's our fearless leaders, Lyndon and Leanne. They're probably wondering where we've been because we stopped to do some looking. And the views are magnificent no matter what direction you're looking, whether it's the red rock cliffs or the deep valleys below or the mountains in the far distance. They're just spectacular. And here's a peek back at the mesa that we drove down. That's some crazy looking rock formations. This must be our lunch stop.
Well, today we're riding Shafer trails from the top to the bottom. This is our lunch stop. Here's the other two in our group having their lunch. You're clean. Are you having a good time?
Had a great time.
You'll say great things for the camera.
Had a great
These folks have gone as far as they can go because side-by-sides are not allowed in the national park. Our first look at the Colorado River today.
Of course, we had to stop at the famous Thelma and Louise Point.
Having never seen the movie Thelma and Louise, I didn't know until last year that a car was driven off this point into the Colorado River below. Here's some other folks from Montana that are having trouble. We tried to help, mostly by staying out of their way. These ponds are solar evaporation ponds used in the process of mining for potash and are known locally as the potash ponds. Potash is a water-soluble potassium salt. Water is injected in wells more than 3,000 feet deep where the salt goes into solution. It is then pumped out of the ground and into these ponds. Blue dye is added to speed up the process of evaporation. Once the water is gone, the potash is ready to harvest.
We're now on Highway 279, which will lead us back into Moab. This cliffside area is called Wall Street. Many times you'll see rock climbers here having a lot of fun as they climb this rock wall. But that's not all that's interesting along this road. Right beside the road, just right here beside the highway, you can stop and see petroglyphs. Such interesting drawings. So interesting to try to figure out what stories they were telling, what messages they wanted to convey. Such a beautiful day of exploring the sights and sounds of Shafer Switchbacks.
It's been a good day. We've seen some beautiful scenery, and it's always fun to explore, especially when doing it with friends. But now it's time to find a place to eat in Moab.